I am Dr. Cheryl Anderson, an associate professor at the University of California, San Diego, in the Department of Family and Preventive Medicine. And it is a privilege for me to be here today with Dr. Paula Quatromoni, who's an associate professor in the Department of Health Sciences and the Nutritional Sciences program at the Boston University. Paula, I'd like for you to talk with us today about your NPAM presentation that focuses on nutrition education for school-aged children. Can you tell us a little bit about the rationale for the work that you're doing?
Well, it's been very clear that there's a need for nutrition and health education for students, and so I'm working with a creative team out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, called Kids Cook Production, and we're developing a digital nutrition education package for middle school students. It's really exciting because our goal is to make something that is so engaging for students, yet so easy for the teachers to use in their classroom that there'll be no questions when it comes to choice for bringing nutrition into the classroom.
That's really exciting. Now, I'm a parent of a kindergartner. So does your program flow across various age ranges, or how is that set up?
Eventually it will. Right now we're focusing probably from grades 4 through 7, I think is the ideal range for what we're doing. And it's really geared around empowering kids to want to get in the kitchen and cook. So bringing it into the home, getting kids excited to be in the kitchen with their parents, making the healthy choice the easy choice. The producers actually started with a program that was more for, say, kindergarten, first grade ages, but really have latched onto this teen age because the use of mobile devices and smartphones in the media, a big part of our education is in media labs in schools, but for the students to work with it at home, play an adventure type game that helps them practice their decision making about making healthy choices, and those cooking skills, the independent decision making when they're out with their friends and they have money in their pocket. What can they choose to get a healthy choice at that corner store? So that's where we're targeting right now, but certainly there's a lot of momentum and a lot of places we could go with it.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear about the results, but before we move into the results, can you tell us a little bit about your measures of success? How do you know that this program is working?
Yeah, well, our first project that I presented today was sort of a feasibility. We wanted to know, would it work in the schools? Could we get the classroom time? Would the teachers be excited about it? How would the students receive our program and the characters in our show? Because I mentioned it's all digital media. And so that was tremendous. We had a lot of focus group and qualitative feedback from students and teachers. But we had measures. We measured nutrition knowledge. We measured a couple of behavioral things. One is readiness to change. How willing are the students to start to make changes, like drink less soda and choose, lower fat, lower salt snack choices, for example. And then we measured self-efficacy, which is sort of a measure of empowerment about their self-confidence. Do they think they could make a healthy snack at home or make a healthy lunch choice in their school cafeteria? And so we saw really significant differences, particularly in terms of the self-efficacy and the readiness to change scores in the classrooms that got our KickinKitchen TV digital curriculum compared to a more traditional set of nutrition lessons.
So Dr. Quatromoni, can you tell us about the measurements and at what time periods you did your measurements?
We assessed the students in our very first lesson before we exposed them to our program, and then we had 4 lessons in our pilot study, so once a week for 4 weeks. And so we assessed them again at the completion of the 4th. We now have phase 2 funding. This project was funded by the USDA, and so very excited to launch into a much bigger implementation and a much more full curriculum bundle, we've called it, and we're going to have 6 lessons. So we probably will assess a little bit more periodically, but traditional pre and post, but in both classrooms that are exposed to the digital education with also a comparison with standard curriculum.
So this is such a wonderful time in their lives where you can begin to think about, the AHA's mission around primordial prevention and really establishing behaviors that are going to help everyone prevent the occurrence of chronic diseases. So when you have that opportunity to be in a classroom with these children, I'm sure talking about nutrition with them helps to build other skills.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other things that you've come across in the room?
Absolutely. One of the things that we've really built into especially the phase 2 curriculum is physical activity. And so we have fitness breaks, so the students are getting up. For for 10 or 15 minutes during that 40-minute class period. And we've partnered with several professional athletes, a player from the Green Bay Packers, we have an NBA player. So it really to inspire the kids, not just to become elite, but to do physical activity in their everyday lives. We do a lot around making choices in the supermarket. Certainly every lesson has a cooking segment, so it's about being at home, and that's really one of our missions, is to have the students become agents of change, to bring that knowledge and those skills, and even maybe foods that they've tasted in the classroom that when they go home and say to their parent, I tried hummus at school today and I really liked it, will you buy it for me? So we're really trying to be pervasive through all those different skill sets.
What about other areas of their personal development? How is the presence of your program influencing them in those ways?
Well, that was one of the things that was really surprising, at least to me. The KickinKitchen TV show, it's a web-based, it's like a sitcom, so it's young high school age students being great role models for these middle school as our target audience. And when we asked the students after they viewed the episodes in our lessons, what did you learn? Certainly they learned about nutrition and making healthy choices, but overwhelmingly their responses were in the areas of character development, because they saw how the characters interacted with each other. Yeah. They were respectful, they worked as a team, they were patient and calm when things didn't go well in the kitchen, and how they came together. And so those virtues just really made an impact on the students, and that was an exciting kind of side effect that I didn't necessarily anticipate. Okay,
well, tell us about the results. You know, you put in all of this hard work, and we're really excited about what you found. So.
Well, the results were that we think there's tremendous potential and promise because of what we saw, the gains of nutrition knowledge, the gains in self-efficacy and readiness to change. It's going to be a little harder to measure the real behavioral impact because it is a relatively short duration. We would love to say this is going to, slow down the rate of gain of BMI, or, but we believe that it will really impact those behavioral risk factors in terms of healthier choices. So what we saw was that this, particularly on the behaviors, that a lot of health and nutrition education packages are not teaching the students in school, like really how to identify a whole grain. Those are hard foods for students to identify, and a lot of traditional packages teach kids about the food pyramid or my plate and what belongs in which food group, but we go much further in terms of really skill building and helping the children understand what's going to be a nutritious snack, the importance of snacking, but how they could make an easy, convenient choice that might be empty calories and high sugar sodium versus a more nutritious base that partners foods from two different food groups to get, say, a dairy food with a whole grain to get more nutrition. So we're really going to a much deeper level, and the teachers have told us that the use of technology in the classroom is novel. They don't have access to that normally, and that we teach topics that are going far more in depth than they ever have the time to, because the teachers don't have the time to prepare. They don't have the training and the professional development. They don't have resources that they can pull off a shelf. And so oftentimes nutrition is not being taught in the public schools. And students might get one lesson a year. We're trying to provide a package that has up to 6 that teachers can choose from. Every one of our lessons has an in-class interactive activity, and we have teacher-moderated discussions so that we try to, it's really kind of like a play and pause, so there's a lot that's already prepared and brought to life by the characters in our show, which is a very multi-ethnic cast of teens, preteens, but really have the balance of the fitness breaks and the interaction with the teacher, and then a hands-on activity. So we're excited because the feedback we got from our first study was that the kids want more.
That's great, because this morning in the opening sessions for the meeting, we heard a lot about how we can try to achieve the 2020 goals of the American Heart Association. And one of our challenges is that initiation is really easy, but sustaining behavior changes can be quite difficult. And so congratulations to you that not only were you able to get them to initiate talking about nutrition and growing their character around their discussions with these nutritional issues, but you'll be able to go back in and hopefully get some of those changes
We're
sustained.
very excited for that.
So thank you. And it was great talking with you.
Thank you.